Still rocking with us here on 13 On Your Sidelines, where tonight marked week 2 of play for the brand new River City Alliance. Cedar Springs and Kenowa Hills are two RAC teams that started off their time in the league on a high note last week. The Knights were looking for their first win over the Red Hawks since 2006, but Kenowa Hills would get the ball first. The Knights drive right down the field for 6 as London Hampton gets in for the game's opening score, make it 7-0 Kenowa Hills. And on the other end, Cedar Springs looking to answer, but the pass is going to be picked by none other than Mr. Hampton. This kid does it all, and the Knights once again in plus territory, and they would capitalize once again. 2 for 2 to start the day. Grayson Fellows to Lachlan Acker, and Kenowa Hills had a 14-0 lead. But here come the Red Hawks. When they're moving, you never know who the heck has the ball. That was the case for me filming, but it was Caden Dreyer who gets in for the rushing touchdown. That cuts the deficit in half. And after falling behind 2 scores, the Red Hawks with the comeback victory tonight at home to stay a perfect 4-0 on the year. Cedar Springs knocks down Kenowa Hills 35-28. Rockford and Hudsonville, they're both coming off wins as well, and tonight they went head-to-head. Matt Guard, we're going to bring him back in with all the highlights from a highly anticipated showdown.
Very Matt Guard heavy show, Jacob. The conference realignment, that's exciting and all, but you have to love the consistency of the OK Red over the years. Hudsonville and Rockford have played each other every year since 2003, sometimes twice. And when you face off that often, the bad blood, it just flows. Opening drive of the second half, Eagles, they're up 14-0. Owen Harzma is going to make it even more of a lead. He follows his block to the left, cuts it back to the right to open space before being forced out into your living room inside the 10. He would finish the drive with a 7-yard score. It's 21-0 Hudsonville. Upset alert. Next possession, Rockford goes into their bag of tricks. Braden Daniels finds Lucas Pitch, flips it to Gavin Curry for a perfect 51-yard hook and lateral, 21-7. Later on, Daniels would show off his moves, juking everybody, including our cameraman. Hey, Rockford's got some life. They cut the lead 21-14. In the fourth, Griffin Baker makes it a 2-score game again. 7-yard keeper off the tackles. Rockford's big play offense, though, would strike again. Daniels finds Jax Eichbauer on the hook before breaking a tackle for 75 yards. The Rams have one last chance to tie this game in the final minute. But facing 4th down Daniels, he's flushed. And he is going to be sacked by Connor Brintal. Hudsonville, go crazy. You just beat Rockford 28-21. Conference realignment, we talked about it. Couldn't keep East Grand Rapids and Northview apart as members of the OK White last year. They faced off for a while. Now they're in the OK Black. Tonight, the 2 schools faced off on the gridiron for the 46th time. First quarter, Armon Irving finds Jake Johnson. The senior gets into Wildcats, into Pioneer territory. Later on the drive, Irving shows why he was an MVP of the week last season. He finds Logan Tyson in the end zone for a 27-yard touchdown. It was 7-0 Cats. To the second, Eastwood respond with a pretty impressive defensive stand. Dylan Buck picks off the pass. He takes it the other way. Touchdown, 7-7. And they can make it happen on offense too, those Pioneers. Carson Thornton says, hot dog, hot diggity dog. It's a brand new game when he finds James Weiner with a wide open field. He gets it into the red zone. Eastwood score later in the drive to make it 13-7. But things would go much better in the second half for Northview. They go on to beat East Grand Rapids 31-27. Hey, the Cats are 4-0 for the first time since 1992.
13 On Your Sidelines MVP of the Week, sponsored by Rant Insurance.
Well, it is almost time to announce our 13 On Your Sidelines MVP of the Week, but you know what we got to do. We got to first introduce you to the nominees. For the second consecutive week, South Christian quarterback Carson Viss makes the list. He had 196 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns last week when South beat West Catholic in a thriller. He also ran for 195 and 2 additional scores. Unity Christian quarterback Jackson DeHoop threw for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. Crusaders took down FHE. He also ran for 46 yards and a touchdown. And if that weren't enough, the defensive plays, he had an interception on defense for UC. And we talked about Rockford. Isaac Poot was a triple threat last week for the Rams in their win over Granville. He ran for 91 yards, caught 4 passes for 71 yards. The Grand Valley State University commit also had a big punt return, handling the punt duties as well for the Rams. West Michigan, you voted, and nearly 2/3 of you wanted to see Rockford's Isaac Poot get the MVP nod. We bring back Jacob. You know, I know that you are new to the area, but I feel like Isaac Poot is one of those guys that I thought he was 22 years old just because I've been calling his name, I feel like, for years. He had to have been making plays as a freshman, you know?
Well, Matt, there's a reason that GVSU and Scott Wooster over in Allendale want his services. I mean, currently, GVSU is 3-0 on the season, and they have the top 2 leading running backs in the GLIAC Conference. So you know they think highly of Poot when they want to add him into that running back room next season. What a performance he has. He's someone that this team is always looking to get involved on offense and defense, and what a start to the season he's had. Even in the loss tonight, he had another great game, and if Rockford wants to have the season that they think they can have, he's going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, Jacob, kind of a bittersweet night for Isaac. He gets the MVP, but of course it's overshadowed by that loss to Hudsonville, and that's a historic loss. Just to give you some perspective, that was the first regular season game Rockford has lost since, get this, 2019. So if you're not partying in Hudsonville tonight, I don't know what you're doing, because you just got a big win if you're an Eagles fan.
That's just a credit to what Brett Sandy and that program are putting together. They took a big step forward last year, and they wanted to take a leap forward this year, and to knock off Rockford, I mean, that is as much of a jump as you can possibly make. And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but Rockford clearly one of the favorites to get to Ford Field and win a state championship this season. So the fact that Hudsonville knocked them off tonight, that should give the Eagles all the confidence that they need the rest of the way to win a conference championship, and then possibly after that, who knows what could happen for that team.
Stay tuned, Jacob.
Well, stick with us because Muskegon doesn't get off to a slow start very often. But up next, we're going to see if the 0-2 Big Reds could turn their season around as they played host to Forest Hills Northern. Plus, it was a playoff battle a year ago that made big-time headlines here in West Michigan. We'll see what happens when Hart traveled to Kent City.